about a hard act to follow. My name's Lou Berman. I am a board member of the Green Tree School. My son, Louis Jr., was also a student at the Green Tree School. And I just wanted to share some history with you in regard to a parent's perspective as we walk along some journeys through the world of autism. There are special moments that stand out forever in the journey of our lives. Think back to the moments of your life. Perhaps it was your first hit in softball, making your first sack in a football game. Maybe it was special times hanging out with friends, driving your first car, or having a special someone for the first time in your life. Perhaps even getting married, having children. All of these moments, all would agree, are the most special of memories. Most people smile and are overcome with joy when reminiscing about these times. Even more so if you're fortunate enough to see your own children go through them. Unfortunately, my son will never experience most of these events. Nor will I have a chance to see him through these experiences. You see, my son is autistic. He's severely autistic. And from the day he was born, I was excited to have a mini-me. Someone I could have to make better than I was, who could benefit from my mistakes, my experiences. But autism, like a thief in the night, he stole my son, he stole my family. He stole what every father, what every parent dreams of. These children at times rage in a river of misunderstanding and frustration. Many parents have the scars to prove it. Misunderstood by most, these children and their families endure seemingly never-ending physical, mental, social challenges due to autism. It affects each and every member of the family. Being told by professionals, "I'm sorry, Mr. Berman, there's nothing more that we can do for your son," or better yet, "I'm sorry, Mr. Berman, we're going to have to suspend your son." And remind me afterward, I'll tell you where you can send hate mail for that one. Another famous one is, "Mr. Berman, if you would just agree to try this new experimental medication, I'm sure Louis would be easier to work with." I imagine many of you parents can certainly sympathize with some of the heartache that any parent would go through when hearing things like this about your own child. For a more accurate gauge on that, take that feeling that you may be feeling right now, multiply it times infinity, and then on top of that, know that there's no cure. And think about how you're going to care for this child as they get older. You're going to think about your time on this earth, and when it's over, what's going to happen to them. As if these circumstances weren't bad enough, back in 2009, my wife and I divorced. The only feasible alternative due to Louis' extreme conditions was for me to take custody of him and take care of him as best I could. In desperation, I had called Herman Axelrod, executive director of the Green Tree School, and what seemed to be a miracle, he took my call. And how many times can you get an executive director on the phone first time out? So I obviously knew at that time it was God's hand at work. Well, I didn't know at that time it was God's hand, but I come to realize thereafter. But as soon as I started to get involved, I discovered that miracles happen frequently at the Green Tree School. The road to recovery wasn't easy. When other schools said no, Green Tree said yes. When other teachers and principals said no, Doreen Williams said yes. And after that, Louis thrived. Louis was on about 8 or 9 different medications. His medications, because I believe of the environment he was in, he didn't require as many. It's almost as if he knew that he was in the right place. I think, in summary, in regard to that, somebody someplace decided that we're going to face this head on with you. We're going to do this together. We're not going to succumb. We can improve. Louis can improve. And we can make it better. Green Tree provided not only the resources, the plan, the implementation to create and sustain a change in Louis, it paved the way and laid the foundation for all that he's been able to accomplish at this point. Things we take for granted, like communicating, reading, writing, wants and needs fulfillment, all these he can now do. To understand what it's like to be severely autistic, the best way I could describe it is imagine walking around all day with a piece of tape over your mouth. And whether you have a headache or you're hungry or you're upset or you're hurt, you can't express, you can't talk, you can't think. Sometimes the perception levels of these children are so extreme, it feels as if they have 5 conversations coming into their brain at once. You'll see some autistics hold their ears and do arm flappings. It's because they're sensory overloaded. The words are in their mind, but they can't get them out. And it's very frustrating for them. They scream, they cry, because it's all that they can do. They don't know what's wrong with themselves inside. And a lot of other people, professionals, don't know either. You are in essence trapped in your own body. For me and Louis, through GreenTree's efforts, my son was forever changed. He was given the ability to be released from himself. Needless to say, I was forever changed. All of you are here tonight, whether you realize it or not. You've made a decision to change lives, and most deserving ones. As I stand here before you, make no mistake, this organization's capacity to achieve is second only to its students. My Louis having been one of them. I'll be forever grateful to people like Herman Axelrod, Doreen Williams, Dr. Eric Mitchell, the Board of Trustees for allowing me to be a part of your group, and the rest of the GreenTree family. You know, walking down the road I had, it wasn't easy, and I wasn't supposed to be. One of my favorite sayings that I try to live by and that I emulate is from Ovid. And Ovid said, "Fire is the test of gold. Adversity is the test of strong men." It hasn't been easy, but coming from where I have to see all of you wonderful people here, it's taking all my strength to finish this message. Leaving the past behind, seeing what is in front of us, a new state-of-the-art facility where all the challenged will be welcome, cared for, nurtured, and loved. It starts with wonderful people here tonight, like all of you. GreenTree is a place I know where miracles happen, and I know this because it's already happened for me and Louis, and it can happen for hundreds and hundreds of other students. For them and others like them who are most deserving. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being here, and good evening.